Brandon here from B2R Investing and Financial Talk. Nailing financial freedom, one build at a time. Join me on this video. I go through my latest build and stay to the end. I go through the financials and you'll see why the build to rent model may be a good model for you, not only building great cash flow, but also instant equity and growing your wealth at the very same moment without any of your cash extra in. Let's get started. Here we are. This property, this is the third build of this floor plan. And so they say by the third time, you get all the little things that you make the change to make it flow better on that third time. And I guess I would agree. You can see what we did. We added the cedar around that lines around the garage. We stained it to match that little chicken foot up at the top. You can see we added the shutters. These shutters we got from Lowe's. It adds that curb appeal. It matches to the door. These two shutters was only $70, and then added the stained little vent right there. So let's go in and take a look, and I'll talk through some of the changes we made to this floor plan. So here we are, changes we made. We added about 9 inches to the side by side to make this a little wider. And it really does feel a lot larger and more usable space, that 9 inches. You can see we did a vaulted ceiling that's stained cedar. We added with the shiplap. This fireplace, I know it's Texas, but everybody likes a fireplace. This electric fireplace, you can change the colors of the flames. You can even have it push out heat. The fireplace insert, you'd be surprised at how much it cost. It was only $1,200. Another thing that we did is we made sure that we had a full foot overhang from this side and this side for seating, for bar seating. Looking into the kitchen, we added the beadboard stain to match the shelving. You've got these floating shelves. Now, what makes this unique? We found a company, these are 4 inches thick. It's got a little bit of a distressed look. You can see here the undermount lighting underneath just right here. And then we got the oven that doesn't have the knobs at the back, and we built in this little spice rack right here for this little niche that they can put all their spices. And another thing you'll notice, these are all soft close, even the cabinets all throughout. So heading over here, so where did we get some of the 9 inches? We worked on the other rooms. This hallway used to be a lot bigger. We made it still into code, but made it just a hair narrower. We added 2 feet from the front. We added another 2 feet, so it was, all the other builds were around 1,340. It's just a little bit over 1,400. So we added 2 feet, so we get 2 feet throughout the house. We added 6 inches into this bathroom. You can see the little ledge that we've got, the gold Schluter. Everything matches to the gold, brushed gold fixtures. You've got the furniture style vanity. These are all lighting that you can find. It's not at Lowe's and Home Depot. These are a little bit better quality, but only cost literally just a few dollars more. Even down to here in where the washer dryer, we put in a cabinet and a hanging shelf. Heading to this front room here, these are all very well proportioned. We added several inches here, made this closet bigger because the renters typically like plenty of closet space. That is something that we've had several people mention about this, is the double racks, the little cubbies, and the large amount of closet space. These rooms, we made them better proportioned. These are roughly in that 12-foot by 13 and a half, so very good size. Same thing with this closet. You got the double racks in the cubby. Let's head over to the master bedroom. But adding this vaulted ceiling and this detail of this beadboard to the kitchen just gives it that look. And the renter came through and said, you know, we've looked at multiples in this subdivision, even brand new ones. And they said they could tell some time was spent on this design work. So that was a good compliment and confirmation of what we did. In here, of course, we've got the vaulted ceiling with the recessed lighting. We designed this even between the windows that you could put your up to a king-size bed, and you've got two orientations right here and along this wall. They could do it two different ways. Walking into the master bath, we did change from the barn door style. It's starting to go out in trends, and just went back to a regular door. But we made our vanity area just a little bit wider so that we could put a larger vanity in there. This is roughly, I think it was about 6 feet wide. The other one was getting kind of narrow. So we added almost a foot. You've got the beadboard or shiplap look here with the sconce lighting. The same thing here, you've got a bench in the master for the towel hooks, and we made a change to the tile work. We found some of this black tile for the floor that's got that herringbone pattern, and it was actually about $40 cheaper for the flooring versus the penny tile we've been using. The other thing we made sure we did, even on these niches, is do that specialty tile on the sides, not just to the back of the niche, but on the sides here that dresses it up. And you can see the gold Schluter with the gold fixtures and even the fixtures on the frameless glass. We made sure they all matched and looked where it all came together with all the other gold hardware. So you can see that furniture style and how that looks even with the eyebrow mirrors on the top. It gives it that dressed up look. This person these two liked this house so quickly, they wanted to make sure they got their application in and gave us the deposit before anybody else could see it. We were able to rent this in less than 10 days. We had 5 other people request to see it. They wanted to make sure they got it, so they gave us their application, deposit, and everything before they saw it. And when they came to see it, they said this was absolutely the best of all the houses they looked at to rent. Okay, one final thing I want to show you that has attracted a lot of our renters. We added about 3 foot to the side inside of this garage, and we built in a little workbench and then created this space. This is 4 foot across so that they could either put a tool chest or another refrigerator. You've got plugs, and then what we added over here, a 240 plug. So that was one of the final little details we did on this build, that we even made the garage an asset that's desirable for these renters. This is a working class neighborhood, and they like this feature of having a little shop, a little workbench inside the garage. Okay, back at the office, after you've seen the tour and the walkthrough, let's go over this latest build that just finished. This one is about 6, maybe 7 weeks behind the other one, but I thought I would go through the financials of this property so that you can look at little slight differences. So the cost to build on this one finished up at $212,000. A little different than the previous one. The previous one finished up right around $208,000, but we added 70 more square foot to this property. We made it 2 foot deeper, and gave more, especially more room in the living space, but then moved some of that 2 feet throughout both sides, because one side was the master, the other side were the other 2 bedrooms and the bathroom. So we use those 2 feet to its optimum in both. I look at the property as 3 separate spaces. You've got the 2 bedrooms and bathroom in between. You've got the kitchen, living room in the middle third, and then the other third is the single car garage and the master bath and the master bedroom. So we use that 2 feet. So it was 212 versus 208. But on the previous build, we had to spend around $4,500 for a retaining wall that we didn't have to do on this one. So effectively, this was around $8,500 more for that extra 70 square feet. So it finished up at $212,000. Also, that it appraised at $270,000. So there we have forced equity, instant equity of $58,000. On the final loan, ended up being $192,000 for the loan. So that was total, and we did do a buy down on the rate. I chose to do a buy down so that I could have strong cash flow. It's a 30-year fixed. It came in just the other day. Actually, wait a minute. We closed yesterday on the loan at 6.75. So we already have the renter. They're moving in next week. I don't have a payment for another month and a half, and it's performing from day one. So our cash in the deal was $29,000 total, including down payment and closing costs, and that includes my buy down of the rate to get to 6.75. So pretty good numbers from the beginning, especially we've got this forced equity of $58,000 and I only have $29,000 in the deal. So let's go through the renter. He just rented. It was on the market for less than 10 days and we had a lease signed. So on this one, of course, this is a single family build. Rent, it actually went up from the previous build just from 6 weeks earlier when we leased it out at $2,050. 6 weeks later, the market changed just a little bit and we were able to get $2,100. For the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, a total of $1,575. I added it up, what the taxes, what the insurance was, and what our payment was. It's $1,575. I do have reserves in there, so I do it a little different. These are brand new properties. So I start out at 7% year one, and every other year I add a percent. What this does, because it's brand new, I get a builder's warranty. I don't have to start at 15% because I've got a long runway of building up those reserves to when I need some major expenses for long-term capital expenditures. So it gives me this long runway, and typically those big repairs for AC, those types of things, those mechanical types of things don't happen till between year 7 and year 10. Do you have a lot of things breaking down? Well, it gives me that all these years to build up the reserves. I get a long runway from day one to build those up. And so I add 1% every other year till I get to 15%. But by that time, I've got a huge bucket of reserves to cover those long-term repairs. So I start out at 7%. It's $147 from day one. Now here, so you can see, so that gives total cash flow of $378 a month from day one. On my cash-on-cash return, 15.6%. What I like about the 378, I teach that you at minimum go for a 10% cash-on-cash return. And I like to encourage and highly encourage starting out at no less than $250 a door cash flow. Because what we've seen over the last couple of years is expenses that you can't control go up. being from insurance and property taxes. Those have increased significantly. Insurance has almost doubled in the last 3 years. So this giving that big cushion protects you. Now, insurances are not going up that high now here in Texas, but I'm starting out at $378 a door. Principal paydown for this property for year one, $2,052 for the first year. That produces 7.1% return on capital. And I do look at that as my internal rate of return. I'm looking for a high return, trying to get above at least 18% or higher for that internal rate of return. And this one came out higher. I think it's at 22%. And we'll get that when I pull off that sheet. But also we have the forced equity. We built it at 212. It appraised the value of it, and I checked that based on the market. That appraisal was accurate. It wasn't inflated. It came in at $270,000. So I have instant equity on top of the cash flow and the principal paydown year one, $58,000. So looking at that for my year one, I've got my internal rate of return of 22.7%. From the capital I expended on it, another 200% return. So year one, not including natural appreciation, 222.7% return on my capital year one. This is what I wanted to share. This is why I do the build to rent model, finding those infill lots at a good price and building them with all this forced equity, that cash flow. I protect all my properties with adding reserves, not on top of the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. I'm putting the SWAN account, my sleep well at night account, I'm putting that back. I don't include that in my cash flow. That's over and above my cash flow of $378. Till next time.